Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here. My name's Brian, and joining me today is Mr. Justin LaLiberty from Vinegar Syndrome to talk about the Black Friday sale coming up. Hello, Justin.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, sir. Thank you for coming back. Always enjoy these chats and always actually end up writing down some recommendations for myself when we go through your list. I'm going to spare you of having to go through the details. I'm going to read directly from the Vinegar Syndrome site. Now, if you go to the Vinegar Syndrome site, now you can see there's a FAQ that goes through specifics about the sale. Like the sale starts at 12:01 Eastern time on Friday, November 24th, and will end on Monday, the 27th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. And then in terms of what's on sale, basically every VS, VSA, VSL, VSU, and partner label title will release prior to May 2023 will be discounted 50% off. Anything from May beyond will not, and then merch and some other things are not included in that. But I just wanted to lay that out so people know exactly when the sale is and what's on sale. But this package is pretty exciting. Let's talk about the Vinegar Syndrome package, what's been announced. Obviously, we won't touch on anything that's not. There will be some titles that will be revealed on the day, which is always something I look forward to. So some cool stuff here. What do you got to say about this package, Justin?
Well, it's a big one.
Yeah.
I think to me, it's the biggest package we've done, based solely on the fact that our 10 film box set is in it. So, we've done like some pretty hefty packages before, but none of them have ever had a 10 film box set. So I think this, by weight and by the amount of films you're getting, it's by far our biggest, package. So you're getting the 10 film set, which is Vinegar Syndrome's Lost Picture Show, which is kind of our, 10th anniversary sort of like birthday present to everybody who's been with us for 10 years or people who are, just coming to us now. I think it works as much as a primer for what we do as it does like kind of a cherry on top of everything we've done for a decade for people who've been around for the long haul. So for anybody who kind of hasn't seen what it is so far, it is on the website right now. So anybody who wants to, look at it ahead of the sale can. It's a 10 film set. All the films are lost films, which means they've not really had official exploitation on home video. They've been out of circulation in pretty much any capacity for a long time. Some since they were originally released, others just over the past few decades. So, whatever the case may be, they just have somehow vanished into obscurity, and now we have brought them back, very lovingly restored, just like we would do with anything else we're releasing. All 10 of those films are in the set. The set also includes our feature-length documentary called Against the Grain, which is about, genre films and the preservation efforts and restoration efforts of ourselves and also of our peers. Labels like Grindhouse Releasing, Severin, Kino, like they're featured in this documentary alongside us. So it's really just the package exists to showcase these films, but then we also have ancillary materials in there that kind of go into like why we've been doing what we've been doing for as long as we have, and also shining a light on the people who are doing it at the same time and in the same space and for the same customers as we are. I think at the end of the day, we're all fans of this stuff as much as we are doing it. I'm an avid collector. I buy releases from every label under the sun, as do most of my colleagues. So this was an opportunity for us to kind of show like this is the ecosystem we work in, and these people that we work alongside in the industry are doing absolutely incredible work. So this is and why they're doing it. I think a lot of times people see what we're doing and they might buy it or champion it, but they might not necessarily know like the reason behind it, like why these films and why we do what we do when we do it. And a lot of that can be dictated by materials and the physicality of the materials, and we go into a lot of that in the documentary. So I think it's a very interesting piece of the puzzle as to what Vinegar Syndrome is and what this thing is, this whole like boutique collector home video market, and also film preservation, all these different pieces kind of working together. So the Lost Films box set is something I'm extremely excited about. I can't wait for people to dig in, to see the films, to see the documentary, to hold the package in their hands, which was an additional labor of love, was kind of creating the box that this comes in. So you'll, see soon enough kind of how it all comes together and what those pieces are. I think it's very rewarding.
Yeah, I can't. This has been, since you announced it, I've been so intrigued by not only the films, but that documentary and how wonderfully celebratory that sounds to me. Directed by, of course, Elijah Drenner, who's done a lot of great documentary work and done some great documentary work for you guys. But yeah, just celebrating the labels, I think, is a really neat thing to do, and to have them represented, not just you guys, but everybody. It's a pretty magnanimous thing and just a neat thing. So that box in and of itself could be the package and I would be happy, but there is more to go.
Yeah, I mean, after that, we've got our next VSU in the package, which is
Nice.
Daryl. Another kind of coming of age film. I think it's cut from a similar cloth to Cloak and Dagger, which is, one of my favorite Vinegar Syndrome titles we've ever done. I know some people might not share my enthusiasm for it, but I
I am
love
one of
it.
those people. I share your enthusiasm. It is also one of my favorite things you've ever done. And one of the best packages, literally the packaging is top of the list for me all time. Like, I just think it's fantastic on top of being a great release, period. So
I
good stuff.
appreciate that. I think you'll be happy with how Daryl came out as well. I think Daryl's really fun. I think that people who like that movie are just going to be, kind of blown away by the treatment it has gotten. And people who haven't seen it or, might be on the fence, I say give everything a shot. But, it's we have something for everyone. That's I think
That is true.
the best way to kind of leave it is, if Daryl's not your bag, I think everything else might be, or maybe there's something else in there. I'm really excited about Daryl. I like, I grew up with that stuff. I came of age in the 90s, so I grew up with a lot of like 80s, kind of teen and kid movies, and Daryl's one that I watched a bunch when I was a kid. So I have a soft spot for it, and I know there's a bunch of other people my age that do as well. So I think that that one's going to do really well. People are going to be excited about it. And then we have the UHD set of the first three films in the Prophecy series,
Yes.
which I mean, again, something for everyone. I think the first Prophecy is a very good example of, high concept sort of 90s horror that like skirts the lines between like horror and fantasy. It's kind of like this weird amorphous genre movie that like it is a horror movie, but it's also a bunch of other things at the same time. And it's pretty gory. Christopher Walken's amazing in it. And then the two sequels to his character in that film, they're fun. I think they're a really good example of what, excessive direct-to-video sequels were at that time. And yeah, I think it's, having those three movies in 4K is not something I ever saw coming.
Me
Outside
neither.
doing it. But yeah, it's, what a time to be alive. The
That's
first
right. No,
Prophecy
I'm
movie.
excited about this because I haven't seen the sequels at all, and I haven't seen the Prophecy probably since VHS. So it's going to be a revelation, really, on this UHD.
I think it holds up really well. It's a movie I honestly hadn't thought about a ton, in recent years. And like it was a video store staple. Like I remember renting it more than once when I was a kid and like a young teenager. And it plays really well. And
Nice.
watching it now is like this movie's aged like remarkably. Walken's just incredible in it. Like he's a total beast. And the sequels are fun. Like they're not, I think a lot of people either haven't seen the sequels or just kind of dismiss them. And I think they're really good for what they are. So yeah, I think
Cool.
that people are going to be pleasantly surprised. It's a really fun package. And then we've got the slasher movie Fatal Games,
Very exciting.
which is like bananas. It's one of those kind of you sort of below the radar slasher movies, but very high profile amongst slasher fans. So it's the people who have been wanting this to come out are probably over the moon about it, and people who haven't seen it, it's a slasher with somebody killing people with a javelin. Like it's,
What
I
more
don't
do you
really.
need?
I think it sells itself. I don't,
And
I don't think I really
that's
sell it.
UHD, right? That's a 4K.
Yeah. Or no,
Awesome.
that's a Blu-ray.
Oh, that's a Blu-ray. Sorry, my bad. Regardless, that one has been I had a spotty home video history as far as I can't
Yeah.
remember anything past VHS. It may have gotten a DVD, but it totally flew by me if it did. So
Yeah, it's been like impossible to see for a long time
nice.
outside of, like other means of seeing movies. But yeah, it's been very hard to come by. And I think, this release is going to be the best anybody has ever really seen it look since it played theatrically.
Yeah. As a slasher fan, I'm super psyched. So looking forward to that one.
So that's it for what's been announced.
Okay.
And then we're going to have two new VSA titles, and we have another mystery title, which, I mean, I don't want to sound crazy right now, but
I
I
like
think the
this.
other mystery title is my favorite film of the bunch.
Oh wow.
And, all hyperbole aside, it's one of my favorite home video releases of the year from anybody.
Oh my
So
gosh. Okay.
I feel like every time we do one of these, I do this to you.
No, it's okay though, because that really piques my imagination for what the hell this could be. And I just can't wait to hit refresh on the day and see it pop up and go, holy shit. Okay,
Yeah, it's
great.
it's pretty much like a bucket list kind of release for me. It's every once in a while we get to work on something that we're just like, wow, I've waited for years for this to come from like anybody else doing it, and nobody
Ooh.
else did it, and then we get to do it, which was like Showgirls for me, which was
Oh
getting
wow.
to, like the lavish 4K Showgirls release was like a dream come true. And like this other mystery title for Black Friday is like the next one from Showgirls to me.
Wow. Okay. So excited for this. I cannot wait.
Yeah,
Good
and I
stuff.
have I have an essay in that package, so
Oh, very cool. Very
yeah,
cool.
so I am like selfishly interested in it as well. But I have an essay in it because I care about the movie so much that I had to do something. So yeah, I think people are going to be really, really excited. And then we have a new like affiliate thing that we've been teasing. So I'm not going to say too much more, but I think
Okay.
people are going to freak out when they see what that is.
Now, is that an actual release with the affiliate? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
So
So that's what that
there'll be another movie coming out, but I can't say anything else beyond that. But I
totally
think
cool.
people are gonna be really excited about the direction things are going and
Nice.
what's happening, and opening a lot of doors. So I think it's a very exciting Black Friday for us. And then there's also going to be a release on our sister site, Melusine, which is now the home for our adult titles. So there'll be a new release over there too, which is also a secret, but I think people will be excited. If that's your bag, then it's something to be excited about.
Excellent. Excellent. So you have recommendations, and I always love to hear these. We can do the Vinegar Syndromes first and then partner label stuff and whatever you recommend. I'm sure folks want to hear it. So fire
Yeah,
away.
so I kept it simple. We've done so many of these that now I just kind of focus on what hasn't been on sale before.
Great.
And I did that again this time. So I went with, on the Vinegar Syndrome side, I wanted to shine a light on Freeway and Freeway 2, which I mean, it's more Freeway 2 because I think I've talked about Freeway before, but Freeway is absolutely incredible. It's like one of the, full stop best movies of the 90s to me. But Freeway 2 is, speaking of like the weird sequels like Prophecy 2 and 3, Freeway 2 is as batshit of a sequel as you'll ever see in your life. Have you watched Freeway 2 yet?
I have, but it's been a long. I haven't watched the UHD. Like I'm kind of been saving it, so it might be something I do for the holidays, which sounds weird, but like it's the kind of movie that I.
That's not quite a holiday movie.
No, exactly not. But like Natasha Lyonne in it, and very excited
Yeah.
about her what she's been doing lately. So very jazzed to watch the UHD. But it's been a long time since I couldn't tell you what happens in it now, so it's gonna be a new one for me basically when I watch it.
I mean, it's nuts. You look at if you look at Freeway, the first Freeway, people were kind of taken aback by it, like when it came out. And you look at Freeway 2, and you just kind of go like, what the hell are people talking about with Freeway? Because Freeway 2 is just it takes everything that Matthew Bright did with Freeway and just like turns it up to a 10. Like it's ridiculously violent. It's totally politically incorrect. You've got Vincent Gallo is in it too. So yeah, it's Natasha Lyonne and Vincent Gallo are the stars of it. And then you have one of my favorite things about it is that John Landis is in it.
Oh, I didn't remember that at all.
Yeah,
Crazy.
so it's I don't want to spoil like any of its surprises for people who haven't seen it, but yeah, Freeway 2 is you don't even need to really see the first one to watch it.
Oh.
I say buy them both and put on Freeway 2 with a room full of people who have no idea what you're showing them. And just like you just kind of like watch people see when it's over, whoever's left is like who your real friends are. But
Nice litmus.
it's I mean, it's a great double feature too. So anybody who hasn't seen either one, just pick up both. They'll both be on sale, and then that's a really great night. It's a great, very disgusting, excessive night. Might be a lot to watch them both back to back, but yeah, Freeway 2 is awesome, and Freeway is just one of the great '90s movies.
Cool stuff. UHD, both of them, very nice.
And then I have the Carlos Enrique Taboada set, which is a set of three Mexican kind of horror fantasies. I don't really know what bucket to necessarily put them in. We have them, the title on our set is Mexican Gothic. I think that's probably like the best way to approach them. But they're like very ethereal genre movies from Mexico. And Poison for the Fairies to me is one of the great movies we've released. And I think that set all around is really nice. It's a great package. All three films are really good. But Poison for the Fairies is just like sublime kind of Fantasia filmmaking. So it's one I hope people take a chance on. I think sometimes with the foreign filmmakers that people might not have heard about in the US, like for every Argento or something, you have all these other people that, are citizens of the United States are not necessarily on first name or last name basis with, and Carlos Enrique Taboada is one of them. I think that he's very unfortunately kind of overlooked in the U.S. and hopefully this set helps correct that. But at the same time, I'm sure there's a ton of people who haven't bought it yet. So anybody who's on the fence or just likes, kind of slow burn, just like weird off the beaten path, like horror and fantasy stuff, I think, look no further.
Very nice.
And then Undeclared War, Ringo Lamb. Absolutely love Ringo Lamb movies. And this one is just like a super violent, intense Hong Kong sort of international co-production of organized crime and yeah, super super violent. It's got a lot of different languages spoken in it, which is interesting for Hong Kong films because typically that doesn't happen a ton. So there's like it's a Hong Kong movie where we'll have people who kind of wish that a lot of these were dubbed, but Undeclared War is one that there's enough English spoken in this movie that if you don't like subtitles, you could watch Undeclared War and not have a bad time.
Cool.
But yeah, it's also exceptionally violent, which is what we want from a Ringo Lamb movie. Which, speaking of Ringo Lamb, we also put out Burning Paradise, which is another one that kind of defies any categorization. It's like an adventure movie, fantasy, martial arts movie, bloodbath. I don't know. It's like everything but the kitchen sink type of movie making. And yeah, I love that. It's like super gory Indiana Jones. I don't really know how else
Nice.
to summarize what that movie is, but I think the two of those like a nice Ringo Lamb double feature. And then lastly, just because it's the season, Don't Open Till Christmas, which for my money is one of the best Christmas horror movies ever made. It's super sleazy. It's genuinely like intense and unnerving. And yeah, it's just a great time to watch with the family. And I love our packaging for it. So I think, anybody who doesn't have it yet, it's a really great release.
Very cool. Good stuff. All great Vinegar Syndrome Rex from you. Partner labels, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so again,
There's a
just ones
lot.
that haven't been on sale before. I wanted to lead with Speaking Parts from Canadian International.
Mm.
Tommy Goyen's one of my absolute favorite filmmakers, and I really like his early films, which Speaking Parts is one of them. I think his later movies are great too. I think his whole career is very interesting, but his early films are just kind of very pointed looks at different like looks at different walks of life, and speaking parts is one that I don't think anybody else could have made. And it's the release that Canadian International did is exceptional. There's so much content on there. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Anybody who's interested in just kind of like offbeat world cinema, everything that they're doing is really interesting. But that film, especially to me, I think kind of crosses barriers for people. Like if you're not necessarily sure if you want to dive into this stuff, that's a good starting point. And I think it's just an all around like perfect package for a great movie. And then speaking of, kind of world cinema, going with Yellow Veil's release for the Hourglass Sanatorium,
Mm.
which they did three films from the same filmmaker. So they did that one, and Sargos and Manuscript, and then How to Be Loved. And Hourglass Sanatorium will be on sale. The other two won't be, but Hourglass Sanatorium is probably the most well known of those three films, and I love it. I think it's appropriately nightmarish. It just gets under my skin. It's another one that also defies kind of genre categorization. It's like a very surreal kind of nightmare movie. I don't really know. Somebody could call it a horror movie or a fantasy, or maybe even some people see it as a drama. I don't know. It's a very specific type of movie making that I'm really drawn to. So yeah, highly recommend that. And then Meet Me in the Bathroom, which was a documentary released by Utopia that chronicles the music scene in New York City in the early 2000s. I love it. I think it's, a really great kind of microcosm of like an urban environment and how like music grows out of that. And as somebody who's lived around, the city for a long time and had been going to shows at a lot of those venues, it was really just exciting to kind of take a trip back and see a lot of, these bands that I saw at that time in a lot of those spaces, and then really just kind of focusing on the music too. So people who like the Yeah or the Strokes, like it's a great documentary with a lot of really good music.
I
And
just
then
want to say one really quick thing about the partner labels in general. Obviously, it's so much stuff and there's this huge variety, but I got to say, I love that there has been a lot of documentaries that have come out of
mhm.
tons of different
Yeah,
labels.
tons of
And
documentaries.
yeah, and actually, I mean, I think you share my love for documentary. I'm just a big fan of it as a template genre, whatever you want to call it. And I love that there's so many different voices, so many different topics, from collecting vinyl to like video games to whatever.
Mhm.
So that's just been for me fun to watch. Like the documentaries, it's almost like one a month. I feel like a documentary almost hits every month, and that's really exciting. So anyway, very cool suggestion from you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd almost even love to have a label that was just doing documentaries every month. Like
Nice.
I'm a big documentary fan, and
Yeah.
I think that especially lately, documentaries are really relegated to streaming. I feel like there's this kind of fallacy that documentaries aren't like worth owning or rewatchable, and I don't
Mm,
find that true. I find myself rewatching documentaries a lot.
same.
Probably, maybe I'm weird. I don't know. There's always the opportunity that that's the case, but I find documentaries to be like infinitely rewatchable.
Oh yeah, no, I enjoy the heck out of them more and more as I get older. They become one of my favorite things to focus on and look, because there's just so many that I feel like even people that feel like they're on top of new movies, it's hard to keep. I mean, you're a guy who watches a lot of stuff, so I know that you could maybe keep on top of new documentaries, but like most people can't. There's just too much stuff coming out all the time, not just from partner labels, but in general. And there's just topics ranging from anything you can think of. And what I love is when I come across one, this is just an aside, but where it's a topic where I'm like, I don't know if that even sounds interesting to me, and I sit down and watch it, and suddenly it's my one of my favorite things. And that's one of the great discoveries you can make from documentaries. Even if it's something you don't think you'd be into, it could actually be a movie you really like, which is, just wonderful. So,
That's one of the things that I started noticing is there's these like film festivals for documentaries. Like you have True False, you have Doc NYC, and I was, focusing on these lineups, and then I would see that the films never went anywhere. I'd be like, oh, they never got home video at all, or some of them didn't even get a theatrical release, or they would get a theatrical and get, only VOD or something like that, some combination. But I'd be looking, and there would just be no physical release. And a lot of times for me, like if I don't catch something in a theater and I want to see it, I'll often buy a Blu-ray versus renting something because I'll just, if I don't like it for whatever reason, I'll just like, get rid of it. But I've always been attracted to that, to just like finding something and getting it physically. And then I'll see a lot of these documentaries that just go nowhere. So I found that if there's a way for us to kind of get them in and some of the partner labels want to take them or we can do something with them, then that's for me a big win is to get the work out there.
I love that you guys are doing that. That's great.
And then next up for me was Attack of the Beast Creatures from Agfa, which was shot about 10 minutes from where my house is right now.
Oh my God.
So it has a lot of local flavor. So I can't not recommend it. It's also just like a very goofy, good-natured monster movie made by people who just wanted to have a really good time and make a movie, and they succeeded. I love puppets, and it's got some really good puppet effects. So yeah, if you just want like a fun, entertaining horror movie, low budget, 80s horror movie to put on with a bunch of friends, like it really fits the bill. It's the kind of thing that, with a lot of the things we've distributed or we release, there's a good chance someone in your inner circle is going to get offended if you put it on. But Attack of the Beast Creatures is like very low stakes as far as like being offended goes. So yeah, I think it's just like a really good natured, fun monster movie. And then my last one is Uncle Kent 2. Talked about sequels a little bit before, and Uncle Kent 2 to me is one of the all-time great sequels because it has almost nothing to do with the first movie and is a very metatextual kind of, I don't know, examination of entertainment and what sequels are. And it's a great time. I have no idea how to sell that movie or how to explain what it is outside of just telling people to watch it. And then usually when people watch it, they're like, oh, that was great. But they don't know how to explain it to anybody either. So Uncle Kent 2, it's a movie that can't be explained and it's really rewarding. And I highly recommend people watch it.
Great. Just a quick aside, with Attack of the Beast Creatures, which I love. I'm a huge fan of it. I have been since prior to the release. And it's an easy, for me, it's an easy sell in that it's like, if you've seen Trilogy of Terror,
Hmm.
you could take like a more red and puppetized version of the Zuni fetish dolls
Yeah.
are the monsters on this island. And I gotta say, like, we did a little pure cinema presentation at the Knoxville Horror Film Festival where we actually did something we've never done before, which we showed clips of, crazy movies that we love. And I showed a clip of Attack of the Beast Creatures, just one of the attack scenes, and the audience just flipped for it. They just went crazy because you'll see these puppets like running through the jungle and biting people. And the other thing I love is that, yes, these are local actors or, maybe non-actors or whatever, but they fully commit to the
Mhm.
attack scenes. Like they are fully writhing in pain, and it's maybe it's a little funny, but it's also just like I admire their commitment to the horror of this whole thing, and it's just a blast. So I love that you recommended that, and I fully second the recommendation of Attack of the Beast Creatures. One of my favorite things that's come out of OCN and AGFA in a long time. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I love that the jungle in Attack of the Beast Creatures is
Jungle.
suburban Connecticut, like very close to where I am.
That's hilarious.
And yeah, it's like basically where they shot scenes from that. That whole area is just like lined with like waterfront mansions now.
Oh wow. It definitely
And
does
it's
not look like it at the time. It looks
no,
like
it's,
that's so funny. Oh my God. All right, so that's everything you got for
yep,
recommendations, right? Okay, wonderful. So that's great. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so much for talking about the sale and giving these recommendations. Again, there's stuff I have written down that I have to check out. But everybody, be at Vinegar Syndrome's site at 12:01 a.m. Eastern on Friday, November 24th, to find out some of those new secret titles that Justin hinted at. I can't wait for those reveals like that. As much as I have fun as I have going through buying things, part of the fun of the sale is just to hit that refresh on the day at that time and get the revelation of what it is. Like I always set alarms for like the time because I'm like, I have to see, I'm not worried about things selling out as much as I'm just like, I need to know as soon as I can know on that day. So anyway, thank you again so much, Justin. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely, anytime.
Yeah, so everybody check out the sale. You know, get as much as you like because there's a lot of great stuff to consider. Even beyond what Justin's recommended, there's so much that it's going to be just a smorgasbord as it usually is. But I can't wait for that package. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and you know, enjoy your Black Friday experience. Bye bye.